Alright guys, I wanted to talk about styles and philosophies in the ring. Ever since the Thurman Porter fight, there's been all this discussion about, I don't like the way that guy fights, I don't like the way he fights. His way of fighting is better. I prefer that style of fighting. That style of fighting sucks. I like this way better. That way's better. Like, look, everybody calm down, right? Does everyone remember the Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo? Remember, playing Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? When when it got to that part where after you got the Sega, after you got past that part, Super Nintendo didn't have that, but fuck the Super Nintendo, all right? But once you got to the part, where you pick the characters, well, what did you notice? That some of them look the same, fight similar, sure. But for the most part, all the characters were different. They had different fighting styles. They had a different outlook. Some of them were villains. Some of them were good guys. Some of them were neutral. If they were all the same, and they gave you 10 different options and they all fought exactly the same and all looked the same, shit would get boring very fast. It would get boring immediately. But what made them iconic? Were there characters that you personally didn't like? I know I did. I fucking hated a lot of some of the characters here. I hated using them to fight, and I wonder why some people love fighting with them, but nonetheless, I was a Scorpion guy, get over here, it's uppercut all day, every day, right? Whoop anybody's ass listening to this video if I ever played Mortal Kombat with you, right? But that's a different topic. Uppercut after that. To me, Scorpion was a shit. After that, I could do Sub-Zero, And there was some other ones I didn't mind using, but I had my favorites. There was the ones I didn't mind using, and there was the ones I hated using, and both of them. Right? I was a Bison guy, okay, on Street Fighter. That's the guy I liked using. I forgot the name of that sumo wrestler. He fucking sucked. Right? But some people were great at using them. It's just different styles for different people. Variety. It's a good thing. It's what I love about boxing. Different styles, different characters. There are a lot of people, I hate that guy. He's so quiet. He's so well-mannered. If he just talked more shit, it's who he is. I hate that guy. He talks too much. It's who he is. That guy's a fucking asshole. That's fine. Let him be an asshole. I don't want every single fighter to be well-mannered, and I just want it to be who they are. Just be who you are. If you're a fucking asshole, be an asshole. Okay? If you're a good guy, just be a good guy. You don't have to act like an asshole just because fans are demanding it. Please just put on the show and act fake. And start, acting the way you're not. Why? You need the hypocrites. You need the trash talkers. You need the silent killers. You need all types in boxing. Okay, it's not just the fighting style. It's the characters. It's the fighters, right? The way they act, the way they carry themselves. You need all types of fighters, right? Variety is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. If all fighters were trash talkers, it would get boring very fast. If all fighters were just well-mannered and never talked trash and never did anything controversial, shit would get boring very fast, right? They should be unpredictable. Fighters should be who they are, and just let it be. It's just let it be. And fighters should fight the way that they are most effective. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but that's the way they should fight. Whatever makes them more effective. And that's it. That makes boxing great. And whatever philosophies they use to approach a fight, different philosophies make for very intriguing moments and situations and fights in boxing. a lot of intriguing conversations in boxing. Different trainers have different philosophies. A lot of times they pass on those philosophies to their pupils, and then they pass on those philosophies, and it's just the way it is. They find a winning formula that works for them, and a lot of times it doesn't even matter the style of the fighter. The philosophy overall stays the same. Emanuel Stewart had a philosophy, for the most part. He had a philosophy that you should always aim to knock out your opponent. That was his philosophy. For the most part, that was his philosophy. And if you aim for that, you're going to have more success, right? And there's other trainers that don't aim for the knockout. They train hard for, back in the day, 15 rounds, or now 12 rounds, sometimes 10 rounds, right? We're going to train hard to win a D right there, and if a knockout comes, it comes. Different philosophies, different approaches. You have guys like Teddy Atlas. Not a big believer in the bouncing around. He doesn't like fighters he sees it as just wasted energy, unnecessary. Doesn't believe on being on your toes that much. He'd rather have guys use, subtle, quick pivots, sliding at all times, always having at least 1 foot sit at all times. That Teddy Atlas has a very strict way of having that approach. Okay, he also has a philosophy that you can always set something up. You can start the setup early, and it will manifest later on in the fight. It's different approaches, different philosophies. Teddy Atlas is very similar to Customado by no accident, right? Yet, like, take Teddy Atlas, you still have fighters who do, in fact, have fought on their toes and have been extremely successful. Some of them the best fighters of all time. Very contrary to this belief of Teddy Atlas or philosophy, right? But nonetheless, it worked for him. It made him a successful trainer. Emanuel Stewart, his philosophy made him a successful trainer. So different trainers, they get different results. And in some cases, sometimes it works out for certain fighters, sometimes it doesn't. That's why you'll see a great fighter meet up with a great trainer sometimes, and it doesn't work out. Nonetheless, I just wanted to kind of talk about that, because there's a lot of I'll hear it a lot, like it's I don't like Porter's style, and it's sloppy, it's this, it's that, it's an effective style, it's worked for him. It's what he does for he could be as effective as he can possibly be. And even within his own way of working, can he still improve that? Of course. And hopefully he does, and I believe he will. But there's so many intricacies in the fine detail of boxing that we have to look at. We have to kind of pay attention to those things. You'll always find different philosophies, man. The Freddie Roach has his philosophy, and it's worked for some fighters, it hasn't for others. And if you notice, Freddie Roach fighters, they're very offensive. And it's that belief, if you're very offensive, you always keep your opponent on the defensive, your offense is your defense, right? So some other trainers, your defense is your offense. It just depends. Philosophies differ, And of course, you have trainers that adapt to the fighter. Whatever fighter they're training, they'll adapt to the style of the fighter, and they'll look at the strengths of the fighter. And obviously, over the years, the sport has evolved to such a point, where we kind of know now, that you have to adapt to the certain style of fighters. But no matter how detailed trainers get in that, there's always going to be a philosophy behind the approach of a fight. That's never going to go away. You know, a great trainer needs to have some form of core philosophy. If not on fine details, at least the approach of the fight. But with that said, you know, tell me what you think. DStyleBoxing. I'm out of here, man. Long day. I'm out of here.